92.7 3 FM.
Good evening, welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live from our news hub at Disawe Kanda, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Also live at 3FM 927 on radio and on Facebook and on YouTube. You can watch us right now at 3FM 927. And coming up this evening here on Hot Edition, fresh on the plate right now. A few minutes ago, the Attorney General has filed an appeal and a stay of execution in the matter of the former MASLOC boss, Sedina Tamakloe, whom the Court of Appeal acquitted and discharged earlier today. And the news just coming through, and we have received notice right now from the Office of the Attorney General that the state has taken the decision to appeal the Court of Appeal's ruling, the judgment discharging ex-MASLOC CEO Sedina Tamakloe Attionu. Stay with us. We've got details for you on this one just coming through right now here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Also, this evening, government supports moving presidential elections to November under constitutional reforms plus many others that the government white paper and the position paper that was issued and read today by the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayene, revealed, including government backing the 5-year presidential and parliamentary term proposal. So government is backing that proposal that instead of the 4-year term of 2, it should be moved to 5 years. We'll give you details of that shortly. And some reactions as well coming through in that regard. Edition on 3FM 92.7. Also, we'll give an update of a fit. Remember, you can share with us your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions. We'll read out to you and to the rest of the world here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Let's go straight into the issues this evening. And what we're learning now is that the Attorney General, Minister for Justice, is racing against time to have a decision of the Court of Appeal overturned after it acquitted and discharged the former MASLOC CEO, Sedina Tamakloe Attionu. The Attorney General has also instructed the Director of Public Prosecutions to apply for a stay of execution of the Court of Appeal's judgment pending hearing and determination of that appeal. So Dr. Dominic Ayene believes the former MASLOC boss had a case to answer. Sedina was acquitted after the court ruled that the former MASLOC CEO should not have been sentenced, as the prosecution could not prove the charges leveled against her. Now, in April 2024, an Accra High Court handed Sedina Attionu a 10-year prison sentence with hard labor after finding her guilty of causing financial loss to the state to the tune of some 90 million Ghana cedis. She was subsequently extradited to Ghana this year to serve her jail term. Now, let's hear from the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayene, earlier today, giving details of the decision by government to file an appeal and also a stay of execution regarding Sedina Tamakloe Attionu and the decision by the Court of Appeal earlier today.
Lawyers, in May 2024, I want this to be made abundantly clear that it was my predecessor who filed the appeal. However, coming into office, I reviewed what was filed, and I directed the Director of Public Prosecutions to file opposing the appeal, because we believe that the High Court judgment had merit. Now, with this judgment, I've also directed the Director of Public Prosecutions to file a notice of appeal and apply for stay of execution, meaning that if the stay is granted, the status quo will prevail until such a time that the Supreme Court has had time to review the appeal and then made a determination. So that is all that I can say for now. I have a soft copy of the judgment. I'm yet to peruse it and then come to a firm conclusion as to what will be our grounds of appeal. But I want to emphasize that I believe that the judgment of the High Court had merit and that the United States District Court that extradited her to Ghana had a basis for making a determination that she was the proper subject for extradition. And that is all that I will say for now. Lawyers, in May 2024, I want this to be made abundantly clear that it was my predecessor who filed the appeal. However, coming into office, I reviewed what was filed, and I directed the Director of Public Prosecutions to file opposing the appeal, because we believe that the High Court judgment had merit. Now, with this judgment, I've also directed the Director of Public Prosecutions to file a notice of appeal and apply for stay of execution, meaning that if the stay is granted, the status quo will prevail until such a time that the Supreme Court has had time to review the appeal and then made a determination. So that is all that I can say for now. I have a soft copy of the judgment. I'm yet to peruse it and then come to a firm conclusion as to what will be our grounds of appeal. But I want to emphasize that I believe that the judgment of the High Court had merit and that the United States District Court that extradited her to Ghana had a basis for making a determination that she was the proper subject for extradition.
Oh, that's the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Aquittal Attionu there, giving details of the position of the state regarding the decision taken by the Court of Appeal in the matter of Sedina Tamakloe Attionu. Interesting development in here, and this case has been developing thick and fast, at least since the last 7 to 8 hours, and we've been watching it play out in a very, very interesting way. Now, if you go on our Facebook page, and I'm going to direct you to our Facebook page at 3FM927, also on YouTube at 3FM927, because if you go there now, we are showing you some exclusive detail we have received right now from the Office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. And this is the Republic versus Christine Sedina Tamakloe Attionu. This is the matter of the notice of appeal and stay of execution that you heard the Attorney General talk about. We have received a copy right now, and this is fresh from the plate and exclusive to us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. I'm going to read it. It says, please take notice that this honorable court will be moved by the Attorney General applicant herein praying for an order to stay the execution of the judgment granted in favor of the respondent herein pending appeal upon the grounds stated in the accompanying affidavit and for any further orders as this honorable court may deem fit. Court to be moved on a date to be fixed at 9 a.m. in the forenoon or soon thereafter on the date that the court will fix as a counsel for the applicant may be heard. Dated at the Office of the Attorney General Minister of Justice, Accra, Thursday, 30th July 2026. Now, let's go into some details on the grounds of appeal that this particular what we have just received, and this is exclusive to us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. And so go on our Facebook page right now at 3FM 927 and on YouTube at 3FM 927. You follow every step of the way. This exclusive document that I'm just reading to you from the Attorney General's office. It says, I, Andrew Owusu Ajiman, an Assistant State Attorney of the Office of the Attorney General, make oath and state as follows: that 1, I am the deponent herein. 2, that I have the authority of the Attorney General to depose to these facts which have come to my knowledge in the course of my work. That the contents of this affidavit are matters which have come to my knowledge in the course of my work. 4, that the respondent was arraigned, the respondent in this case being Christine Sedina Tamakloe Attionu, was arraigned before the High Court, Accra, sometime in February 2019 on charges of stealing and causing financial loss to the state, among other charges. That sometime within the trial, the respondent absconded the jurisdiction to the United States of America, and her trial was held in absentia. 6, that on 16th April 2024, the High Court convicted and sentenced the respondent to a term of 10 years in hard labor. 7, that aggrieved by the decision of the High Court, Accra, the respondent in February 2026, while still out of the jurisdiction, filed an appeal in the Court of Appeal challenging her conviction on grounds that the conviction was not supported by the evidence on record. 8, that the applicant commenced extradition procedures in respect of the respondent to compel her to serve the sentence imposed by the High Court. 9, that sometime in June 2026, the respondent was extradited to Ghana based on overwhelming evidence submitted to the District Court of Nevada in the United States of America and began serving her sentence. 10, that on 30th July, which is today, 2026, the Court of Appeal allowed the appeal and consequently acquitted and discharged the respondent, Sedina Tamakloe Attionu. Point 11, that the applicant dissatisfied, and the applicant in this case being the Republic, dissatisfied with the judgment of the Court of Appeal, has filed a notice of appeal dated 30th July, that's today. 12, that the judgment of the Court of Appeal has occasioned a substantial miscarriage of justice. And so take note of this. This is the Attorney General speaking in the voice of the state or the Republic, that the judgment of the Court of Appeal today, acquitting and discharging Sedina Tamakloe, has occasioned a substantial miscarriage of justice for, among other reasons, material errors of law and fact apparent on the face of the record. 13, that the appeal raises substantial and arguable grounds of law which disclose a real likelihood of success. 14, that the applicant prays that the execution of the judgment given by the Court of Appeal on 30th July 2026 in respect of the matter be stayed. So the Attorney General is asking that this acquittal and discharge of Sedina should not be executed, or it should not actually be actioned, or she should not be set free. That's essentially what this means. Point 15, that should the matter not be stayed, there is a real likelihood of the respondent, that's Sedina, leaving the jurisdiction and rendering the efforts of the applicant in this matter nugatory. 16, that the matters set out above constitute special circumstances warranting the grant of this application. 17, that I am advised by counsel and verily believe the advice to be true, that this honorable court possesses the inherent jurisdiction to grant a stay of execution in exceptional circumstances in order to prevent a substantial miscarriage of justice. 18, that justice requires that the execution of the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which has occasioned a substantial miscarriage of justice and dated today, July 30, be stayed pending the determination of the appeal by the Supreme Court. Wherefore, I swear to this affidavit in support and pray that the application is granted. And this is from the Attorney General's office. And it's a long one, 18 points. And I had to read the details so you understand every step of the way. And go on our Facebook page right now, 3FM927. What I just read to you is there. This is some exclusive detail we're getting from the Attorney General's office right now. And the NPP has issued a statement regarding this, which we're going to be reading as well. But let's keep this on the page right now. This affidavit we just received from the Office of the Attorney General. And let me bring in Christian Mamhesi, is private legal practitioner, a constitutional lawyer as well. So Mamhesi, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Kansi, and to your listeners alike.
And I believe that you followed me every step of the way when I was reading this notice of appeal and stay of execution that we have just received from the Attorney General's office regarding Sedina Tamakloe Attionu and the acquittal and discharge by the appeals court earlier today. The Attorney General says, and in fact, speaking in the voice of the Republic, says this is a miscarriage of justice for, among other reasons, material errors of law and fact apparent on the face of the record. How does this get to you?
Yes, very well. The Court of Appeal came to a number of conclusions in agreeing with the position of the appellant. And chief amongst them was the fact that he indicated that the charge sheet that was drawn against the respondent, that Madame Sedina, was very defective. After reasoning through and coming to a conclusion, it also concluded, amongst other things, that prosecution failed to establish the very or the specific violation that the respondent had breached in respect to procurement of public funds and all of that. It further went on to say that the charges 5 to 71 were defective, again, considering the fact that the particulars of offense in respect of conspiracy to stealing, conspiracy to willfully cause financial loss to the state and causing financial loss to the state were not particularized. So, I mean, that listing out all these charges took about 2/3 of the judgment, and the reasoning of the judgment is quite short. So, I mean, this is the conclusion the court came by. It would be everything for the learned Attorney General to prove to the Federal Appellate Court, being the Supreme Court, that indeed, if not all the charges were proven, some of them were proven, and to that extent, whatever should result from it should anchor for her. And also, the Court of Appeal also, amongst other things, also reached the conclusion that the sentencing was also harsh. So these are some of the things that the learned Attorney General will be facing going up the hill.
Now, just for the benefit of those listening to us, with this notice of appeal and the stay of execution, what would be the consequence of it if so granted by the Supreme Court?
Yes, I mean, if the court grants the stay of execution, it would mean that Madame Sedina would still be in custody, and it would be for the respondent, that Madame Sedina's lawyers, to appeal for bail pending appeal at the Supreme Court, and the court would also hear that whether to get her out of prisons on bail while the matter is being heard, and the court would go into that merit. So a lot of things to come up in the unfolding weeks to come.
Indeed, rightly so. Counsel, thank you so much for your thoughts on this. And maybe quickly, before I let you go, the position that Alfred Chiayeboa, who is a former Deputy Attorney General, espouses that the Court of Appeal going for the jugular and acquitting and discharging her is inconsistent with Section 406, subsection 1 of Act 30, for instance, that if really the weight of the Court of Appeal's decision was only on the fact that the charges were defective, the Court of Appeal could have resorted to, for instance, starting the trial all over again, de novo, so that those defective charges would be rectified. I mean, is it one you align with?
Yes, I mean, it is it is a strong point in law, and the Court of Appeal has the legal powers always to refer matters to be heard de novo, and also the fact that is there, as I have already mentioned, it is one that will be canvassed at the appellate court, at the Supreme Court, in respect of all of these things. It is one school of thought because the law provides for that, but the laws at the Court of Appeal did not consider that option or did not exercise that particular principle of law, and all of these bottles up for the Attorney General to put before the Supreme Court for consideration in their appeal.
And I do thank you so much for your time on this matter. Appreciate you. That's Christian Mamhes, a private legal practitioner. And I want to appreciate the presence of Richard Ahiagba, and I know that he's caught in a meeting right now and had to step out to graciously speak to us. So let's do this quickly. Richard Ahiagba is Director of Communications of the NPP and also seeking to be his first Vice Chair. Ahiagba, good evening.
Evening, Alfred.
Thank you for speaking to us. Now, this matter is not only a legal matter; it's a political issue as well, because of how things have played out. But the latest is that the Attorney General, we have just received, and this is some exclusive detail here on Hot Edition. We have just received a notice of appeal and a stay of execution from the Attorney General's office, indicating the decision to appeal this particular ruling or this decision by the Court of Appeal. And the Attorney General says in this, and I'm reading this for those who have been following us on 3FM 927 on YouTube and on Facebook. The Attorney General says this is a miscarriage of justice, and it is a dangerous precedent that, for among other things, reasons material errors of law and fact apparent on the face of the record were ignored by the Court of Appeal. I want to find out from you what do you make of this latest development from the AG's office?
Alfred, thank you. I had spoken earlier with your colleague Johnny Hughes in the morning when the judgment came. When we all learned about it, it was a shock. And I was beginning to wonder if we're dealing with a different John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency the President, because I cannot reconcile his campaign rhetoric with what we are seeing, and his personality and record with this kind of animal farm justice that we are being served in the country. So we had that conversation, and I thought that it was regrettable that was happening. But this other level that we have been put with the Attorney General seeking to oppose the judgment, it's interesting. What we have to do is to wait and see how that is going to go. But the troubling fact is that there is emerging a certain pattern of conduct of how this Attorney General, Minister of Justice is conducting affairs in the country. It's as if that there are two standards that is being operated, one for a different set of people and one for the NDC. And that is clearly what we see to be happening. I just hope that this appeal is not a ruse. It's not a reaction to say that, oh, my God, what has just happened? The NPP is going to go on this tangent because that's what it is. And so let's put this, Hail Mary appeal in it and then see if we can hold a space for some time. But clearly, this is regrettable. It is an animal farm justice that we're seeing. For NDC people, different set of rule applies. For political opponents, we go the full hog with them. And Alfred, you know, and I know your view that you're an independent person. If this carry on, we'll be destroying our country and destroying our people's confidence in the justice system, and that will not bode well for our democracy.
And I place emphasis on the wording of this notice of appeal and the affidavit. Yeah. It's about 18 points in all. And if you look at the wording, and I'm going to bring you in here, and what this means, listening to the Attorney General speak in the voice of the Republic, describing the Court of Appeal's decision as a substantial miscarriage of justice. 1. 4, among other reasons, material errors of law. That's number 2. And the fact apparent on the face of the record does not even support the decision of the Court of Appeal. Others, how do you react to this?
Yeah, I mean, Alfred, the Attorney General, he's only talking, in this case, he has written his piece, but he's not the one to deliver judgment. It is the judges that will deliver judgment. And so this could well be, as I said, a ruse with all strong languages, but it will not amount to much. Because the judge is not going to be convinced because the Attorney General wrote some kind of strong words. If it would be, the earlier facts that were presented, they could have judged on the face of it. The case, you know, the Sedina case had gone on for more than 4 years, okay? It was diligently tried. Resources have been dissipated. The state had lost money. And so I'm not sure what evidence you're talking about, because where is the money? That should be the primary text. Where is the money? Do we have the money somewhere? Do we have the money, or we lost the money? If we lost the money, no legal technicality can replace the money. The money is gone, and somebody is responsible for it. Let the person answer for it. So all these things that is coming where people sit in courtrooms and come up with big languages and all of that, and Attorney General writes this, it doesn't bring anything. I'm telling you that this could well be a rule. And if we leave it, it would be as though that clear person. Remember, when Sedina came back to the country, she was at her house. When she was supposed to straight away go to Sawam, she didn't go. There was probably pressure. And she went there, and just about a month, you bring her out. You are killing the justice system. Just the appearance of it. You are killing the justice system. Because if somebody, I was in court the last time, some young people who had gone to do one or two things, in relation to some crime in a company and all of, in giving the huge sums of bail, now as you and I speak, they're probably languishing in police custody. And somebody dissipates public resources over here, dilly-dallying and using it a court case and saying that strong language for what? The person has been convicted. All these things that is going on, it is just weakening confidence in the system. So, notwithstanding the language the Attorney General used, it doesn't give anybody confidence that we are fighting corruption and somebody is being found guilty of corruption and you are going around doing all these shenanigans to kind of get the person out of accountability. That is not good. It is not good, Alfred. And that is really the case with the wound to me matter that we're talking about.
But
because
there are some who have already pointed to the statement that you put out earlier, and some of which you have re-echoed, and the fact that you, in fact, even called on the Attorney General to demonstrate a commitment to justice in this matter. And if you go on our Facebook page at 3FM927, we posted the statement that you, the MPP, put out earlier regarding this matter. As you describe it as a travesty of justice, further evidence of a politicized justice system. You criticized this, called on the AG to take action. The Attorney General has just filed an appeal, a notice of appeal, and also the stay of execution, which, if granted, effectively means that Sedina will still be in custody. Is that not a move worth taking note of?
I mean, I'm just telling you that this whole thing to begin with is shenanigans to begin with. You are fighting corruption. You ought to demonstrate tough stance on the thing. You can't be dilly-dallying with this matter. You can't be dilly-dallying with the matter. Okay? The person has been convicted. Come, go serve your sentence and come out. Go serve it and come out. What is the controversy? Why was Madam Sedina in America all this while and she didn't come here to deal with the matter? Why? Why was she there? If she wanted to deal with the matter, she would have stayed here and deal with the matter. So right now, she was running away from a sentence. She was a proper fugitive. She was a proper fugitive. Okay? and then having stayed away all this while, following the sentence, then show up, the party is in government, where it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck. Everything you see about this thing is a calculated attempt to get her away from accountability.
Right.
So what the Attorney General has filed gives me no confidence, because it is well part of a plot to try and get her out of accountability.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right. Richard Agba, thank you very much for joining us on this matter. And look, this is just developing thick and fast, so I know as the days go by, we'll get some more time to digest this. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfred. Thank you.
Richard Agba is Director of Communications for the MPP, seeking to be his first Vice Chair. But also, Godwin Tamakloe is Director of Legal of the NDC and CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, NPA. And this is what he had to say earlier.
Court of Appeal has every right to, as it were, appeal the decision. Thankfully, an appellate court has reviewed the entire records. My understanding is that this is an appeal that was strongly opposed by the Attorney General, the prosecution. The justices of the Court of Appeal have reviewed the two submissions and have come to the conclusion. In fact, the little that I know about that case, the records that I've looked at, clearly shows that this conviction ought not to have happened even in the first place. First of all, Beatrice, the understanding, I guess, was that there was a case of causing financial loss, a case of stealing, and in the case of the causing financial loss, it brought on the purchase of some buses. If you read the submission and the record, when the prosecution witness, Mr. I think they call him Sika, you know him?
Mm-hmm. Yes, the Member of Parliament for Nshaiso.
Yes, the former boss of, MASLOC. Under cross-examination, this issue came up strongly as to because he became a prosecution witness. And Beatrice, it will interest you to note that all throughout, the prosecution witness, that is Teka, admitted under cross-examination that the payments for the buses were done by him or under his tenure. And the person who specifically made the authorization for that payment was the former finance minister. So I was wondering if the accused now, the suspect, never made any payment. I'm surprised.
So
why on earth should be convicted for causing financial loss, a loss that for all intent and purpose was renegotiated and paid under the NPP administration?
That's Godwin Tamakloe there. Alfred Tuaibua is Deputy Attorney General, a former Deputy Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana. He's also been talking about this this decision by the Court of Appeal, and this was before we got this exclusive detail, which I've just been running through for you, and so this is not in direct response to the Attorney General notice of appeal and also the stay of execution which we have just received. And this is what Alfred Tuaibua said earlier.
Reading online, it appears the Court of Appeal is saying that the state could not prove this case against Madam Sedina Tamakloe. If that is true, then I paused to ask the following questions. Here's the case that in the trial, the CEO, Madam Sedina, advanced a loan facility to a microfinance company in Ashanti region in the sum of 500,000 Ghana cedis by way of checks. The company said they were not interested in the amount again because of the interest element. So they decided to return the check to Madam Sedina Tamakloe. She requested that, no, cash the money for me. They cashed the money, came to Accra, at a filling station, gave her the 500,000 Ghana cedis in Ghana must go back. She took the money and issued a receipt on her own. But that money never went into the books of MASLOC. All these things were made available to the court. And if a court of appeal can say that with this strong and very potent evidence, the state could not prove any of the charges, that's what I'm saying, I'm very much sad. Now, when it comes to other matters, this particular matter also, there's a case that Madam Sedina Tamakloe took an amount of almost 1.3 million Ghana cedis that he was going to use it for sensitization program for his beneficiaries. Out of this amount, he used only 1,300 Ghana cedis. The remaining amount was never used, was never retired into the coffers of MASLOC, and we are saying that there's no case against Madam Sedina Tamakloe and that she must walk free. If I can recount all the transactions because I was partly in charge of this particular matter. With this mountain of evidence, if the contribution that the judiciary can make to the fight against corruption is to discharge Sedina in this way, they have a very long way to go. These are my initial comments.
Now, you look at the grounds of appeal. Again, from her lawyers, they did say that the prosecution failed to establish a prima facie case against the appellant at the close of the prosecution's case. Now, you walk us through, because you were in charge of many of these cases, including this one as well, and at least you were briefing the media a number of times. Each time there was a court session. What were the proceedings in court that this position taken by the...
We never heard her side of the matter. Let me take to the third one. An amount of 246,000 Ghana cedis. This lady said she was going to use that money also for training and financial literacy. Not even a cedi out of this amount was used by her. And the audit that was done established it. Not one cedi was used by her. She kept the money. Now, you remember the Cantonment Fire Support, fire, where women who were the traders had to undergo this fire outbreak, and the government then led by the president now, President Mahama, thought twice that at least an amount should be voted for these women so they could just help them. And do you know how much was voted for that? The government approved 1.46 million Ghana cedis for the victims in 2013, and it was intended for these market women. Now, only 700,000 out of this amount was used. The remaining amount of 579,000 was not used. Vehicle procurement, and that's very messy. Where MASLOC decided we're going to procure vehicles for people to buy and then use and then pay. And the inflated cost associated with the vehicle. Now, one vehicle, the abused saloon vehicle, the market price then was $12,091. But this lady procured this particular vehicle for $18,000 per vehicle. And the vehicles were close to 300 plus vehicles. The other vehicle, the Chevy vehicle, the price, but the highest price then was $9,000. She procured one for.
That's Alfred Chiaibua, who is former Deputy Attorney General, and this is a matter that is fluid. It's changing in different forms, developing thick and fast as we speak. Look, if you go on our Facebook page, what I've just been telling you about and what I posted earlier regarding the notice of appeal that we received, that exclusive detail from the Attorney General and Minister of Justice on our Facebook page at 3FM927 on Facebook, and also at 3FM927 on YouTube. A number of you have been commenting on it. We'll read it out to you and to the rest of the world. But if you're just joining us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond, the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, has just filed a motion for a stay of execution and also a notice of appeal on the matter of the acquittal and discharge of Sedina Tamakloe Attionu. Is 18 points in all, which we posted on our Facebook page, and the material aspect of this 18 point is point 12, that according to the Attorney General, the judgment delivered by the Court of Appeal acquitting and discharging Sedina Tamakloe has occasioned a substantial miscarriage of justice for, among other reasons, material errors of law and fact apparent on the face of the record. And point 13 also says that the appeal raises substantial and arguable grounds of law which disclose a real likelihood of success. So that is the AG's position on this matter, and it's one to watch. That's what we've been getting some reactions on from a number of people we've been speaking to here on Hot Edition. But still staying with the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, he has said that government accepts the recommendation of the Constitutional Review Committee to extend the presidential term from 4 to 5 years. Professor H. Prempeh's Constitutional Review Committee proposed a 5-year presidential term in Ghana and said there was no room for a third term. The committee noted that the current 4-year term was too short. It also said it did not find a place for a third term for a sitting president during its work. Among other things, the government has capped the number of parliamentary candidates, or that's parliamentarians, members of parliament, from 276 to 300. That's an additional 24. Government has also accepted the proposal to amend the 1992 Constitution to remove the current restrictions that prevents Ghanaian citizens by birth with dual nationality from becoming members of parliament solely because they hold another citizenship. Now, let's take a listen to the Attorney General regarding the matter of the presidential and parliamentary terms limit.
Recommendation to extend the term of office of the president from 4 years to 5 years, with the term of parliament extended to correspond with this. Our thinking is practical. Under the current 4-year cycle, the early months of every administration are consumed by transition matters, and the final year is largely consumed by elections. A 5-year term provides a more realistic time frame for the formulation, implementation, and assessment of government policy. Still on the presidency, the committee recommended that the minimum age of eligibility for election as president be reduced from 40 years, currently in the Constitution, to 30 years. The government has access of this to be fashioned out by the Constitutional Review Implementation Committee. The current threshold of 40 years excludes qualified citizens from seeking the highest office on the basis of an arbitrary age limit. 35 is consistent with a trend in modern democratic constitutions towards greater inclusivity of the youth, whilst ensuring that a candidate for the highest office has attained a measure of maturity and experience to handle that office. We have also accepted that the presidential election be held on a day in the first week of November, as the Electoral Commission may specify by constitutional instrument. A fixed period gives certainty to the electoral calendar. It allows the Commission, the parties, and observers to plan, and it ensures an adequate interval between the election and the inauguration of the incoming president on January 7th.
That's the Attorney General. And also on the matter of a sitting president paying taxes while in office. This is what the Attorney General had to say.
Recommendation to extend the term of office of the president. The government has also accepted the principle that the president should not enjoy tax exemptions by virtue of office alone. The president will pay taxes on his salary and allowances, as well as the applicable indirect taxes on goods and services. The government has not, however, accepted the proposal to tax the president's retirement gratuity and pension, and the details of the president's tax liability will be worked out in the tax laws where such details belong.
On the matter of dual citizenship, and this is what the Attorney General said, is the position of government.
The government has also accepted a recommendation on dual citizenship. A citizen of Ghana by birth who holds the citizenship of another country will no longer be barred from contesting for election to Parliament only on account of his or her dual citizenship, and will not be required to renounce the other citizenship. The current disqualification sits uneasily with our engagement with the diaspora and with the realities of modern citizenship. In line with this proposal, it is also the case that multiple citizenship will no longer disqualify a person from becoming, from holding certain, offices, except that of president and vice president.
So that's the Attorney General there. Martin Prempeh is private legal practitioner. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us. The Attorney General says, perfect, that the recommendation by the Constitutional Review Committee to have an oversight body of to ensure accountability has been accepted, and also the decoupling of the Ministry of Justice from the Attorney General, that has also been accepted. So going forward, he says the Attorney General, shall be appointed through the process of Article 146, as of the same with the Chief Justice. But then the Minister of Justice will be appointed as a minister, to serve as a minister. These were some recommendations you were looking at, and well, that has been accepted by government. What are the sticking points for you beyond what I just said that you had the Attorney General put out today?
Okay, so the number one, the appointment of the Attorney General, if it still goes through that process that the President has a big say in it, then did we go or did we come? It has to be radical enough. It's going to be like Supreme Court judges. And you remember how we mentioned it, that no, that way you have to lobby and lobby and lobby, and you become weak. The more you lobby, the more your independence goes away, especially when it comes to litigation affecting the government of Ghana. So that one, I don't see it. 146 itself, you see, before we go in there, the process of, bringing on the candidate, as he said, is problematic. Once you see, if you look at the HKC Prempeh report, there's a part where he seeks to strengthen the Council of State a bit so that they will be more independent. But it's not far-reaching enough. So I don't get it. Maybe we should get the full document to see. Because if 146, remain, not 146, 146 is removal, 144. 146 of the Constitution is removal of...
Yes, it says that if the Attorney General will be removed, that's going forward, the removal process will be that enshrined in 146 and not just, for instance, a reshuffle.
Good. But then, how about the appointment? You see, we have to relinquish the power of the President to appoint. We have to take it away. Just saying the removal should be harder. We've said nothing. We might as well just leave it how it is. It's not radical. The word is not right. It's not far-reaching enough. It's not as if we just want to be radical for radical's sake. Sometimes radical sounds like you just want to be revolutionary. So we need a meaningful change. You want the Attorney General to be independent of the President, okay, and be a good check, all right, in his own office as well. So by subjecting to 146, we've not done much. Let's look at even the appointment process. The appointment should not be by the President. It should be by the Judicial Council, right, or any other body that we would give that to, and that body be as much as possible independent from the President. And the new Judicial Council would not have the current number of a huge number of the appointees coming from the President, and then apart from that, the representations from the police, the military, etc. That makes them weak, because in the military, the President is the commander-in-chief. So the candidate or the person coming from the military, for him, is more or less the President's appointee. Police appointed. So we need to reduce the powers of the President. We need that this appointment, he has no hand in it. That is what will help us, not that his removal will be hard. No, if you want to check whether the removal will be hard alone is enough for us, let's look at how we have over the decades not been happy with the justice system, where we have both parties who throw or point fingers at them for being this not independent, etc. So if you say the Attorney General will be removed through 146, then it's just joining appointments to the High Court, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court. How are we satisfied with that? We are not. So we need to look at this thing better. That apart, the number one case that has been started with is the matter of increasing the tenure of office from 4 years to 5 years for the president. And the same for the MPs. It's a no-go. We'll defeat that point.
You are not in agreement with it?
I violently disagree with that one. 5 years for a president. We've not forgotten Akufo-Addo. Akufo-Addo is still fresh on our mind.
But Akufo-Addo is no more president.
Sorry?
Akufo-Addo is no more president. So
yeah, but the bad governance, the rotten governance is still fresh on our mind. And you see, maybe that's why sometimes the president needs to see those of us who talk bluntly behind the scenes and test our pulse too before some of these things. The president is forgotten that he's not making this, excuse me, he's not making these proposals at the end of his 4 years. So he still has about 2.5 years to go. And he himself, who says he'll be popular by the time he's leaving? The chance are beginning to rise. I know people are not happy with certain things he's doing. So this one is ill-advised, to be very blunt with you. I don't think we should hide it.
Council,
we'll 2 years to go.
We'll have some time.
Making these proposals at the end of 4 years where he's still very popular, then that's when we say yes. But when you still have 2.5 years to go, and now, apart from opposition, people are beginning to grumble. Hey, no. That one, it is not going to work. I don't see the 5 years going through.
Okay.
It's going to be by universal adult suffrage. One word
for the proposal for the capping of the Supreme Court justices to 19. The government accepts that. One word. Do you agree or disagree?
That one, as I said, we need to debate it further.
Okay.
Because so that we understand what are we doing, what makes 19 the number. I don't understand. Like I said, the only one I understand is that yes, they are backlogged. So what makes it 19? What makes 19 the magic number, such that if we get to 19, that's it. Okay. So we need to. I'm not opposed to rates per se, but I also don't understand enough to support it. One thing that's clear is that yes, this debate, I know it's been many years in the works,
Thank you, Council.
But currently, you remember 2024, people stood up against Akufo-Addo. I'll start. We shut down the attempt by Justice Tokono to have 5 more appointed.
Absolutely.
To increase the numbers. So I think we should debate it further. When we understand, then we can make an informed decision.
Council, we'll connect at 10 p.m. on Ghana tonight. Thank you for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Martin Bebu, I beg your pardon, is a private legal practitioner. This is the Director of Elections of the NDC and also the CEO of GIFEC, Rashid Tanko Computer, also sharing his thoughts with us on these proposals accepted by government.
General. I mean, we have to thank His Excellency the President and his cabinet for coming up with this laudable position on the Constitutional Review Committee report, government position on it. Very straight to the point. I mean, it's something that we've been looking for a very long time, that we need to amend our constitution. Looking at some of the clauses accepted by the government, tells you that the president is interested in the amendment of the constitution. And even if you look at the timetable, they have ruled out in the 2 bills that were presented, indicated that by October the bills should be ready. That tells you that the government is very much interested. It's not like previously where it has to take longer period in order to do this. And even saying the second bill, which has to go through referendum by next year, when we are going to have the district assembly election, it will be incorporated. The 2 will move alongside. That tells you how government is so much interested in making sure that we have a constitution that can stand the test of time as of now. Because if you look at the current constitution, it has outlived its image. Seriously, 92 up to now, the way some of the articles, if you look at it, it doesn't help. It's not helping the country at all. And one of the most important one that I've seen gleans through is moving the tenure of the office of the president from 4 years to 5 years. It's something that we are I'm so happy with it, to give the president ample time to implement his projects, programs, and all that for the benefit of the country. 4 years is too short to implement such laudable ideas that the president will always want to implement for the country. So it's a good one. Another one that we've seen is the capping of Parliament to 300. It's well intentioned, at least.
And also the Chief Executive Officer of GIFEC, and Orekwampo, for standing by with the latest in the world of sports after this. Stay with us.
And, disabled.
All right, so my name Black Rasta, and of course, the voice of the patriot, where we speak truth to power. Remember, here we don't criticize, but if we must, on only one condition, to build and not to destroy. That is why we say we have taken sides. We are not neutral. We are on the side of the truth, the headquarters of the truth. Subscribe and make sure you hit on the like button. And we would always be knocking on your door, so you will feel the truth. Like fire, more fire. My name Black Rasta. All right, so my name.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on TFM 92.7. My name is Uri Kwampofo. Let's start off from the camp of the Black Stars, where former midfielder Lai Kingston has urged Carlos Queiroz and his technical team to focus on building a strong team rather than focusing on individuals.
Where I'm sitting now, I don't think we have a team now. We don't have a team. Because it looks like the players that will play the qualifiers, when it's getting close to the tournament, almost half of them will not even appear. All of a sudden, we see new faces coming from left, right, center. And with that, I will not blame the management. I blame the coaches. I blame the coaches because they are not firm. Because I don't understand why you should justify or play qualification with group of players, and then getting close to the tournament and you start to bring new players. Then you are not building anything. They need to stand on their feet and make sure they are building a team for the nation. When you watch France, once a while you see a young chap coming from the youth system to the first team.
And that chap typically will be somebody who is having a brilliant season.
Exactly. So you can see the consistency in Deschamps' team. For how many years he maintained the same group? Once a while, bring 2-3 young boys into that team. That's a team.
Well, that was former Ghana international Lai Kinton. Nowadays, he works with the Ugandan youth national teams as the head coach, bringing an end to Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Oreku Ampofo, and we'll be back again same time on Friday.
Rico, thank you so much. And you can find more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. On behalf of the team here on Hot Edition, thank you for staying with us. Sixtus, Jerome, also Tofik, Richard Brightado, Rosalind, and Anna. I am Alfred Okanse. Join me at 10 p.m. on TV3 for Ghana Tonight. Have a great evening. The drive continues with DJ Abiam and Trigmatic.